Batman Offworld #6, written by Jason Aaron, pencils by Doug Mahnke, inks by Jaime Mendoza, with Doug Mahnke, and colors by David Barone, and letters by Troy Patiri. A hell of a creative team.
Eventually written by Jason Aaron.
Or eventually drawn by Doug Mahnke. I don't know.
It's up in the air. Who knows?
What is going on with this book? It finishes up. You end up where, again, I have to maybe step back a bit with the idea of being annoyed with why did it take so long? Because there's nothing in this book. I thought, okay, it'll set up a sequel. Kind of not.
Something.
It ends up
maybe.
Maybe, but a weird idea. But the idea, like, I thought maybe something with the absolute nothing. I don't understand the way or why or
maybe
how
something with the absolute?
Gone. No, I'm saying just something where they're going to tie it into something later. And hey, you get this weird play at nothing. I don't see why this was delayed 6 months. I don't even think the art's that good in this. I think there's a lot of panels that look like kind of half drawn at points, look very, very kind of rough. So why did it take 6 months? And when you get into this, I couldn't remember what the hell had happened. We do like it, not in a punch button, this issue in my mind, but we do end up ending it, and you do end up kind of going back God. So I know you would like that.
Oh my God, I love the back God aspect.
You love the back God aspect. A lot of people hate that now, but you do like it. So I knew that'd be the play. But the idea of setting up the Blakksun Twins and all these things going where it's just this one whispering to Batman for him to just be able to take and whisper back that he's Batman. It's just
that's the shit right there. It gets you excited.
It's okay with the idea where I'm like,
he's the Batman, everybody.
And I did like at the end because one of the biggest
He had to travel all the way to the Slag Galaxy to realize that he's the freaking Batman. He's going to let the freaking universe know it.
And that's the thing where
that's all it takes to free a galaxy of this freaking slavery, this imprisonment, this freaking is for him to come in and tell the story of Bruce Wayne becoming the Batman and finally whispering to the Whisper Blakksun, I'm Batman.
Batman. I like the idea that he's like, and then I whispered to him. I whispered about a child who lost a parent. So you end up where I think it's boredom that defeated Blakksun. I think that's all.
I don't know why.
Is.
I'm telling you, I can't tell you how this makes sense. The idea that you have these overpowered Blakksun people, like these two beings that are like as old as the Guardians, as old as Owen, all this stuff, are the heirs. Like they what does it say? We bathe in antimatter, and they're just building up the whole like hierarchy of the Blakksun Twins that we have here. And the idea that Whisper in the previous issue, just because Batman was freeing some people, getting their hopes all up, it killed 12 billion people on this planet, or something along those lines.
Yeah, which is still on his hands, right? I'm telling you, it's still
on Batman's hands, but he finished the job, is all I'm saying. But the idea that he can overcome this whisper, it's like, his eyes are bleeding, his ears are bleeding, his freaking brain is twitching at the whisper of this whispered Blakksun to the point where he can overcome and whisper back at this child monster and put the fear of God into him, or the fear of the Bat.
Do you think that, like, anybody on those planets that might be deaf, like, they're still alive? They're just like, what happened? Like, nobody can tell them because they're deaf, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what happened. Again,
that's the Ford killer.
Maybe Batman should have thought ahead.
Sadly, Whisper Blakksun is just the one killer.
I swear to God, Whisper Blackkson's there. And I really thought that you could have this where Batman gets up and just pulls cotton out of his ear. It could be that ridiculous because in this, it killed that many people, but Batman's able to withstand it somehow.
I don't think that you remember us talking about it in the previous issue that we reviewed, but the idea where we thought that Thanagarian bounty hunter who, Ione subdued previously, we were talking about the idea where we put him in the bat suit.
Yeah, in the bat suit.
That's who we delivered to the Blakksun Twins for them to torture and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem to be the case. We just kind of lose the Thanagarian bounty hunter, say Ione didn't kill him.
Kind of got rid of him, but didn't kill. It's weird.
But the idea that I think that, like, the torture and him not being able to endure the Whisper Blakksun the way a Batman could, again, that's all, like, to his surprise as well. But I don't think Batman would have allowed that.
No, I don't either. But I did say also by the end, I thought it was very obvious that Ione would be playing up a game with Batman, and lo and behold, that's what she's doing. But
I was just hoping it had something to do with the Thanagarian and Batman suit.
And it's like whispered me, sweet nothings. And then the idea of then I whispered back at him. I'm like, okay, I get it. But this has been a lot of fun. I think that a lot of people have really enjoyed Batman Offworld. I do think that a lot of people are going to end up at this issue kind of because of the delay. And because you waited so long, and boy, you don't really get what you don't really get. You don't really get, though, the idea, again, 6 months for this. And then when it ends, it really does end in a way of like, okay, this, and there's not as much cleverness in it. I thought it was clever from the beginning. You didn't love it as much from the beginning because you were trying to make it work in that year 2 to year 3 kind of deal. But in that, I thought, this is cool. This shows how he ended up learning how to fight these, space guys and stuff.
The biggest problem I had with the story initially was, we're setting it in Batman year 2. We're going to blast us off into space. We can figure out how to deal with aliens in the future because he got his ass kicked by one to begin with. So that was fine to a degree. This is the idea we're taking it that far back. The thing I had the biggest problem with is that some Irish mafia douchebag was able to get a hold of this Slag Galaxy freaking alien to be his enforcer and bring it down. I'm like, how did that happen?
I like that at this one point that basically Batman, he does end up thinking, what would Jim do? And when he does go back to Earth, he doesn't take a shower. He doesn't take a shower, Eric. So there. It'd be cool if he had shorts on. But even that, I love the play where Ione's going around. She's blasting everybody. Like, she only shoots people in the face. I mean, but not kills people. Like, I love the idea that it's like, oh, that's the face shooting gun that only
biology.
Hurts them. It's so crazy.
They got the brains in their butts, Jim.
And maybe, again, if you shot my butt with it, I could still die even if my brain is in my head. Like, she just blasts everybody. But it does end up where it reveals, she's on the plague.
She's killing some folks, but also she knows she's not supposed to. She's trying not to. It's a new thing for her because she's going all Batman about it.
Yeah. And I wanted more Punchbot. You
got Punchbot, you got Wolf, and you got Ione. Like, this
and you don't get a lot
where you have the Batman off, where like Batman is on his back for the majority of this being whispered to by a little small freak here, while Ione, Punchbot, and Wolf lead the charge into the Blacksun Money, the orphan orb that we have here, and they're trying to make their way to the Blakksun Twins, and it takes the most of the time for that the Wrath Blacksun, the tall, like, female, like, twin version who has super strength.
Which I forgot was female until they said it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see boobies. But you end up also with the idea. I think that Jason Aaron made a big we like this series, and I still do. The big mistake was making the Blacksun Twins pretty much the be-all, end-all. Like, these twins were killed 12 billion. Like, all this stuff. Even the idea of Wrath Blacksun of, oh, man, she could kick anybody's ass until she just doesn't. And it doesn't play out. It was too big.
Jim, she got shot in the face. She got punch-spotted in the face.
Again, Punchbot to what they
I was afraid that she killed
nothing.
Wolf at first.
Yeah. And even then I like where you have, and what you do have a lot in this too is Ione, you look like you're thinking of something. Are you? Oh, I'm thinking about when me and Batman set up this plan there. Punchbot and goes through the deal, but we get to see that. But at one point, she does end up saying, remember the no-kill policy there, Wolf. Wolf has eaten like 8 people by then, and it continues to do so.
Back up, and it was hilarious.
Well, that's the idea of it. It's like you kind of went against the rules there, but that's what I'm telling you.
But he's still, look, obviously he's sentient. He has talked to Batman about the idea of going after bigger and better prey. That's why he went with the Batman to begin with, but he's still just a big alien wolf. So when you freaking shame the big alien wolf for killing people and eating them, he then immediately vomits it up in shame. I'm like, that is the best thing ever.
It is, but again, I thought the art was a little wonky. The art at points, I think, is a little rough. You have a couple panels that really aren't detailed, and to have 6 months to do this, I'm telling you, it didn't really wow me in the way that I was hoping. I thought that this would be like the master work if you take this long to do it. Because again, we don't know. Does it seem like the story is anything that needed all this delays? And usually art is the delay, but I don't think it can be. I don't know.
Unless you're Jeff Johns.
I wish they would have come out and said, listen, well, I was busy. I had this. We didn't get it. I don't know. It just feels weird. But again, you end up having Wrath, Blacksun, and she's just this be-all, end-all wrecking machine until she isn't. Like you said, she gets shot in the face, but you already play out that you can't kill.
Then she gets punch-spotted in the face, and then Batman comes walking out, carrying her brother, throws her brother out, and then, gives her a right cross right there, and that takes her down. And then everybody has the idea, okay, the Blacksun Twins have fallen. So
nobody can punch this woman all this time. This is the thing that gets me. Well, she is tall. That's the thing. Nobody in the universe has a step stool. And I get the idea, it could be, if it was played out a little better, back in the day, Mike Tyson type deal, where the rumors got bigger than the person, and the idea that you go in, you've already lost. You're very intimidated, and when you're not, but you don't
really
play that.
The linchpin of this operation.
Well, it was, but you did play that Wrath is like this wrecking machine, and I'm telling you, Punchbot punching should have been like the idea of Drago, not even moving. And just like, oh, you're a joke, and then Batman punch. But even that, it just felt weird. When you go to the end, when Batman is fighting the alien, knowing from Punchbot the idea of, well, I have all these pressure points, this is this. This is just walloping Wrath in the face. Again, if you played out like she's never been hit, nobody's ever gone against, could be because of, Whisper's nonsense.
Just
Batman
look at
being
that scene,
everything
though.
got less for them to make it work, and it just kind
look
of
at the scene though. When Batman overcomes Whisper Blacksun, we get the story about how he overcame and then told the story of him becoming Batman, which just threw Whisper completely off. Comes dragging this boy out and just throws him at his sister. But when he's walking through the smoke of the ship, dead bodies surrounding him because of the battle that just ensued with that glowing bat emblem, and just the glowing of his eyes. And Wrath looks over and he just freaking knocks her ass out. I'm like, oh my God, this is the Batman of the off-world that I've been waiting for.
It is the Batman, but again, I wanted it to be I wanted it to be something smarter, and the deal of not just punching Wrath. Here's how you get Batman wins the day by not dying from Whisper, then whispers his tail, and then goes and punch Wrath in the face. It just doesn't feel like a lot.
Batman does, punch her down. She's already been blasted in the face. She's been punch botted in the face. He goes in because he has to have his little jab at too. Puts on a collar around her to hit her. She's able to break that, but really the death knell for Wrath is him tossing her brother at him and starts whispering at her.
And then the weird thing is, again, that he's so off his game because Batman told him the tale of the deal that
he starts telling him weird things about Barbados. Whisper doesn't understand.
Again, why wouldn't you end up? It's like Batman told all these things. Listen, Batman's and then I was the wagon, and then I had this happen. And then
but this is Batman year 2.
Again, in my mind, this little bit of saying I'm Batman, really, to me, if you want to ask me, it reminds me more of
what
Tom
he
King
did
than Jason Aaron. But the idea where this Whisper can't even shut his fucking mouth to actually whisper, to then subdue his sister is too much. He didn't do anything.
See, what Batman actually did is he actually told him the entire comic series of Batman year 2, and it drove him insane, just like it drove me insane when I read it.
That might have been. And then it didn't even do that much. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, he's and let me tell you about All-Star Batman and Robin. It's oh, no. But
God.
You end up, too, that I'm telling you, when
it hasn't happened yet, and it's a different universe.
When you have Batman, again, who cares? When you end up where Batman says, I'm the Bat, I don't even know that this fucking guy knows what a bat is. He's in space.
Now.
He's in
scared.
Space. He's even then, if somebody came up and said, be okay, well, I'm a fucking pineapple. What's it to you? It just ends up where, again, you end up having an ending that just ends by saying, he just fought back. And then he punched this. It was disappointing for me. I did at the end then when they end up, it's smart to throw Whisper in with his sister, but I'm why doesn't he just shut his fucking mouth? Why doesn't Wrath just end up muffle the mouth or something? But then I love the thing where you end up where now the Blacksun mining, all this. There's no more mining. There's no more of this and that. I wanted somebody to
no more orphans.
No more jobs. And then finally you do have it kind of mentioned, but not. No, this is the thing though. They ended up at least living. I don't know what they're going to do now. You end up where you even have, I only say, well, this just starts the trouble, but there's more troubles than that. They were the government. If the government goes down, somebody's got to do something, and shit just falls apart, whether or not you're having a grand old time before. But this is a whole
maybe
planet
they can mine for themselves now.
Yeah, but who's going to pay for shit? Everything falls apart. Batman has just written the death notice for all these people, and they're all cheering. They're kissing. They're yelling. I'm now somebody's going to be hey, what are we eating for dinner? Because we got the dinner. It's just, again, it's surface level stuff because he's just going to go back. But I kind of was hoping that it was going to set up more.
You are so for tyrannical governments.
It's the idea. It's not just that. But again, I'll give you a very simple thing that's not even government. Dan Didio got fired. DC had no plan, and we went through years of bullshit. That's kind of times 20 here. I don't know what they're going to do.
To their defense, I didn't care for Dan Didio's plan either. 5G sucked.
But again, they then had to use that in a way for future state that they didn't have this and it was that. We're finally seemingly righting the ship a little, but still, some people say we're not. But
look, I like Dan Didio a lot, but if he would have pitched me 5G, I'd have fired him too.
Yeah, well, again, here you are, though, and it's what do they do the next day? They're going to have to start doing some shit. But again, Batman's out. He's hey, and even Ione's Now all of a sudden it's ours.
I just want to be your friend back in 1983 when Return of the Jedi came out and the Rebels defeated the Empire. Like, what are they going to do now? The Empire's not going to take care of them.
And then what I would say to you is wait till the sequels and we'll see that shit goes real wrong and then we get Last Jedi. Like, that's the problem. That's what that's dealing with. The idea, what the fuck do we do now? The government is all shit. You have to do something. But Batman again, he's just like, all right, I beat the thing. I punched it in the face and off I go. Like, they're like, I thought you were rich. Like, give us something. He's like,
look, he is going back to his one true love, which is Gotham. But in his place, he's going to have this new intergalactic Bat family with, Ione taking on the Bat mantle, Punchbot being Batbot now, Wolf doing probably some Bat Wolf stuff.
I tell you, I just thought by the end, not that the idea that the tyrannical governments, but I'm saying that it felt like there would be more like a plan going for. He's just like, well, you could kind of do things. Like, she almost feels like the sheriff now in like an old West town, but there's a lot of other shit going down. And he just like, sayonara, sucker, let's make out.
We even have an illuminated moon with a bat symbol on there, almost like being an intergalactic bat signal in the Slag Galaxy, which is kind of cool.
That has to cost a lot of money. That's what they used all their money for. Like,
there's no money. You just make this thing. You blast it.
Look at
it's an illuminated moon.
Yeah. And then you get Batbot. Then it's okay.
But when Batman goes back to Gotham, I actually am a little bit surprised because I really took the idea that captain that we had in the Slag Empire with the storm, like the war stormers that we had that he defeated previously, was that guy that came down and was a part of the Irish mob.
He had a lot of like responsibilities. This might be his cousin. Is it weird that at one point you end up where these, Irish is like, hey, this is the guy who killed the Batmans, and he looked very sad. I thought that he was going to be like, I yearn for the Slag Galaxy.
He's got a resting sad face.
But Batman comes down and he's like, hey, you want to go out? And he's like, no, you're back. I'm going back to the Slag Galaxy. I'm going to go meet. And he's like, by the way, shit is different there. And then they fight. But he ends up, he's not going to bait because he wants him to smell the
Slag Galaxy on him when he shows up.
Galaxy. I think that he smells a lot like Ione, if you know what I'm saying, Eric. And
I do.
Again, and the way that she's acting, that's how the whole Slag Galaxy does smell. She gets around, Eric.
The biggest misstep I see in this whole thing, because the idea where you have this pseudo-Bat family in space come together to take out the Blakksun Mining Corporation, free an entire Slag Galaxy, the whole thing that's going on. When Batman came back, he realized that he cannot do this alone, and this is the inception, the idea about having a Bat family in the future, actually having help for his war in Gotham. And it's so funny, the idea, though, that here we are in current continuity. Fucking Gotham keeps getting taken over every other goddamn arc in the normal continuity. Yeah. He freed an entire galaxy. Can't free a city.
An entire well, he was young and spry. He didn't have He didn't have that steroids stuff that he's doing now. He might have had it. Sangrail. Yes, exactly, Eric. He comes back, and again, he's there for Gotham, but he's more there because it's been a dick measuring contest the whole time, and he wants to end up beating the alien. Who, again, I don't know that this stops the idea of beating him up here. I think he comes back more and more, and then this causes a lot of problems, but it doesn't. And then we end up seeing that Ione becomes the bat herself. I just really want to know
what happened to this alien after we defeat him. Like, I'm telling you, I'm going to put my knees and my knuckles into every last one of his nerves and his different clusters and stuff like that. We take the alien down. Batman gets his revenge. The whole reason of him going to space in the beginning to try to figure out how to face a threat such as this type of alien, or just aliens in general, learning everything he could from the Slag Galaxy. Where the fuck do you put this ass? So especially in a Batman year, too.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like you're there in the yard and you beat up a guy. Well, that guy's coming back at you. You got to be prepared. It would be funny. He's like,
he never came back, Jim.
He never came back. No, maybe he walled him up under Gotham. He's like, he's tried that out early. So you end up where
honestly,
it'd be
funny. I think that's what we did to the freaking Blakksun Twins. We just left them on that satellite and just flew off.
The thing that Batman doesn't kill, we've said it before.
KGB'sted him.
Sometimes with that, it's like, well, I didn't kill him. I only put the twins together so they could kill each other. That's on them. That's on them.
And then Starvation killed Whisper.
Yeah, Starvation. It wasn't me. It was the lack of food. Oh, gravity was his enemy. The whole play of that. Again, I think that he'd play it off. Well, I kind of left them for Ione, and that's on her. But she seems like, she's inspired. Again,
I can't wait for these characters to come back, whether it's a sequel or Aaron takes over Batman in the future at some point after Hush 2 is over. Because the thing is, I want to see them come back, and the idea of we're this far removed from Batman to how many years he's been doing that. He has his entire Bat family, in my mind, inspired by the Bat family he created in space, and see them show up because they have a problem that they need the Batman for.
This is the best thing I've read from Jason Aaron that I've read since reading Jason Aaron. You know, I did actually like the Jane Foster Thor stuff, but a lot of people don't like that. But the Thor, but that's
some of that.
Years.
It wasn't terrible.
That is years. Like the shit that he has been writing and continues to write now over at Marvel and other things going, it's bad. And so the idea that let's leave it at this. I think that if he does Batman,
I need more of these characters.
I think it falls. Well, again,
Jim.
have a sequel with this. And what you can have then, have Batman on World and just have it in the now for a miniseries as they come back. I'd rather have that than an actual run from, worry.
That could be a thing too. I just said that because, normal continuity stuff.
But again, what you have in the normal deal, whoever takes over probably will lose Gotham 80 times, and you have that. But it would be cool at a point where if you did even have in the regular continuity when shit goes down, and what I've mentioned, the idea of the absolute stuff, the thing though going forward when Darkseid becomes a thing again, when things interlink, it'd be cool for them to show up to help. If Batman's like, I got some people that I can have help, and you have Ione.
Hey, Batman, you should have called these people many times before.
Yeah, and he's like, I lost their number. I couldn't get, there was star storms. I couldn't get at it. The funny thing is, like, he ends up calling and Ione shows up and she ain't looking good anymore. It's been quite a while.
Them Tamaranians age like fine wine.
Punchbot comes in. Unfortunately, he's lost an arm, but then he sees Absolute Wonder Woman, grabs that bullshit arm, and now he's right back because it does look like that arm there, so he's good.
It does not look like that
He's
arm.
really
He's
good
got
going.
robotic Popeye forearms.
I wanted more Punchbot. And it's cool at the end to have him like, no, I'm Batbot now. I'm like, okay, but I kind of want him. And we even said it'd be funny if Batman would have brought Punchbot back.
I
put
wish
him in a
that
tube,
Wolf
right? And
I wish that
disconnected him.
Wolf actually had a different. Why do you want him to kill Punchbot just to keep him as a trophy?
What happens is he comes back and Batman says, you can't go with this Punchbot here. What I'm going to call you now, you're kind of like a brother I. And he's like, I agree. We're like, oh no, we're in big trouble. But yeah.
But no, I wish that Wolf had an actual name, just so when you see him here with the little bat symbol collar that he has, so you could say, so-and-so the Bat Wolf.
Like you almost wanted like
Ace the Bat Hound.
Not Ace, but something like that. Yeah.
Something. I just need him to have a name so you can say Bat Wolf afterwards.
Teethy, the Bat Wolf. There he is. Look at those teeth. Like the bottom ones. What is that helping? I don't think evolution worked well with that hound there. How about the Bat
He's
Hound,
an apex
the
predator.
Bat Wolf. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's about to eat Batbot there. He
right
really
now he's
looks
just
like
Wolf
he's hungry.
the Bat Alien.
Also, somebody when I first saw the symbol, I only saw the black part of it, and I'm like, what is he? Not very, I see. It's more of the symbol. Going from that, he just didn't finish coloring it in. But the middle part where you do have Batman punching, like if you go to that page is incredible. That page is really, really good.
I'm telling you, the standout page is when he's walking out of the smoke right there, and that bat symbol is illuminated.
Everything seems like it's not as detailed. And even like things are not as detailed in this issue, and I don't get a 6 month delay to get that. Some of the panels with actually Ione are really not great. They look really rushed in my mind. So I'm not going to say that this is great art for me by the end. I like it a little more now that we talked about it. Because of the delay, I kind of have to take that out of my mind because I did expect something bigger and an ending that might have set something up like, oh crap, I can't wait till we get that. Like at the end, we'll be back in 2026 or say, something. But I'm like, they're just doing their thing. If you want to come back, they can, but
gotta have to come back.
Who isn't inside? Are they not inspired to write this thing? Jason Aaron has to see that this is one of the most.
You mean Jason, Absolute Superman Aaron?
Yeah, but again, even that
he's got Krypton to write.
People are yelling about that and stuff. This is the book that he seemingly can't do any wrong. Like stick with this thing, but we'll see. We'll see how it is. It's just a weird delay, but I did like it still. I just wanted the at the end. It's Bat God defeats.
You wanted more gravitas.
I wanted more of that, and I wanted something a little more clever after this of how they defeat. The cleverness was putting Whisper with Rat, but to get there, you punch and say, "I'm Batman."
You punch 3 times. Oh no! You blast in the face, you punch, and then you punch.
Yeah, that did it. The thing that's
Whisper.
like the scourge of the deal. I mean, again, you have so many of these wackadoos that are mining. All they really needed to do was get like 50 of them, step forward, and they probably could have done something. But
they got them little arms. They're weak, Jim.
Yeah, I guess. Batman, like, his ears are strong. He's bleeding out of every orifice. And I mean, every orifice.
There's no way if my money comes back to Earth, I'm okay.
I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, what's going on with him
when he
now?
gets back, I feel like he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's exposed to Mars in that Total Recall.
Yeah, exactly. And also his hearing's like Pete Townsend or something, right? I mean, that would be the deal. If he was hard of hearing, then it would make sense to throw that in. But geez, I mean, he fought through it. I think it was Troy Pateri's letters that ended up making it delayed for that long. He just wasn't getting the right font. He had to create a new font to do it. But at the end, it's okay. But I think it will obviously read better in trade because, boy,
definitely,
it was a really good series and really fun. Something that people watching this or listening to it on YouTube may not understand because we ended up, on the podcast and stuff that they haven't heard us talk about this series throughout. You really were taken back by the first issue and didn't know if you liked it or not. You ended up saying that you thought it was ridiculous. Yeah, and that takes a bit. You're a curmudgeon, you are.
Oh, yeah.
But what would you give this?
I am giving this finale an 8 out of 10. It's one of those things where we talked about how we'll read better in trade, and I usually do not pick up new trades when they come out. I usually wait for them to be out for a little while, try to get them on some kind of discount. This is a trade that I will buy immediately when it is released.
Look at you. And you're a tightwad, I heard.
That's right.
I heard that from Jess. And actually, I should have
edit that out.
I don't know what that means, but
I'm a tightwad as well, so I won't be picking it up, but I will probably read it again at some point. It's one of those things that I think that I will end up reading again, which I don't do very often. So maybe, just maybe, Eric, it's a classic in the making. It's something that's fun and actually surprised me. I didn't have a lot of faith in Jason Aaron. I know a lot of people didn't, but even people who I know for a fact said they didn't want to read this. I don't like Jason Aaron. I'm not going to read it. Oh, my God. And even after having that Bizarro story that he came for the Superstars deal, that kind of fell apart a bit. Yeah, and it seemed clever fellow. But this is something that a lot of people then, even after the fact, started reading. And luckily, they had a lot of time to catch up, Eric. But I didn't have anybody who really said to me that they didn't like it. Everybody seemed
the only
to
part of the story I didn't like was the Irish mafia guy getting an alien out of nowhere. And
again, you had to figure out a way to make him go there. You could have had him run into somebody that I don't know. But I'm a 7.5, maybe a 7.8.
Because you'd say, like, okay, an alien invasion comes. He's like, I got to learn this. But then Batman doesn't leave a Gotham during an alien invasion. So you can't have that either.
It's kind of a weird play. So he leaves while this guy's just going around probably killing half of Gotham.
How did you get this big old alien? You don't realize this alien, he's my second cousin once removed.
That's the thing. You never did find out. What the hell? Maybe it is. Those Irish people, you're Irish. You got a lot
we come from the Slag Galaxy.
For crying out loud, you have a lot of relatives you've never met, just like the Slag Galaxy, right?
That's just because my father got around.
Well, again, Slag Galaxy is actually just code for South Boston, Eric. We figured it all out here. I think I'm 7.8. I'm going to go a little under because, again, I said I don't want to go full out of saying, hey, this took 6 months, whatever, but I still think the art was a little bit off. When it was good, it was great, but there was a couple panels that just seemed like they were rushed, but I didn't see anything that seemed like it should have been changed or should have dealt. And in fact, I thought that the big change was, hey, listen, Jason Aaron, you got lightning in the bottle here. This seems great. Set it up to definitely have a sequel. It almost feels like if that was the case, they went the opposite and saying, just tighten this up and end, which is a shame. But I do hope we see the characters again because they were really good. And I think that he did a really good job and seemed to get Batman as well throughout. So even the Bat God stuff, which people don't like, that
even a Batman removed from what you know from his time in the Slag Galaxy, finding love and friends along the way.
He did find love. And the other thing
and he found himself as well.
What you always like about it is the idea of him going and now the tail of the bat is throughout the stars, things like that. I'd laugh at the end. If he came back, he's like, now I'm going to get that alien and goes after Superman. That's what he went after. That's what he was really training for. But with all of that, you were a little more positive than me, but still, it's really good. And if you haven't read the whole deal, if you pick it up a trade, read it on the app or whatever, you should read it. It's really well done.
Definitely.
And one of the things that even if you're one of those, hey, I don't read the big two or whatnot, this is worth reading. It's really worth reading. You don't really have to go into it with any sort of knowledge of anything. You just go and have fun with it.
And in case anybody doesn't know, a thing we do at Weird Science during the podcast is every now and again we do what we call a $25 do or die pull list, where if you only had $25 a month, what books would you have on your list? Which usually is like 5 or 6 books, depending on what the price range is. But if this was coming out regularly and we were doing it more often, this would have definitely been on my $25 do or die pull list. It'd be one of my
first or second ones. I mean, exactly. that would be the case. So with
but it's hard to put this on with all the delays that it had.
Yeah. And when you're saying that, just as a little reminder, we end up having a podcast that comes out each and every week. It comes out Sunday night. Now, I just recently put that back on YouTube, and people seem to think that we had taken a 6-month hiatus, which we have had the podcast for 10 years now. I've never taken a week off. So with that, if you do search any sort of podcast player or whatnot, you'll find just
Weird
look up
Science,
Weird Science, and I'll end up having a link and stuff like that in the description of this video. But the plan going forward is to have it on YouTube each and every week. So I will be doing that now. If you say, well, so what about last week? Yeah, and last week it was weird. We come back right before the week that we have a Patreon-only show, so it ends up kind of being wacky. But if you wanted to know what happened last week, we were at Patreon only again. If you want to help support us for everything we do, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/weirdscience. That is in the description as well. We have a ton of shows, a lot of positive shows, a lot of things that aren't even DC. We have Marvel, indie, manga, all that, all wrapped up into one. And you can go and get a 7-day free trial to check things out before you end up putting down your hard-earned money. But with all that, that is it. Eric, you can take us out. What do we say at the end of this video?
I have no idea.
I don't either. So we'll end it with thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.